Hello YouTubers, and welcome to my web series, Understanding Politics, where I help to educate and inform people about the current U.S. system of government and politics, and also to help cut through the confusion and bullshit that you're going to be bombarded with over the course of this election campaign up to the president of 2008. And today's topic is going to be the powers of the president. And this is going to be a pretty important one because you're going to be dealing with a lot of jargon and a lot of basically lies and myths and half-truths about what a presidential candidate is going to do. And I'm here to explain to you exactly what they can and can't do. One of the main things that presidential candidates say that they're going to do or not going to do is raise or lower taxes. And that's just a flat-out lie. A president cannot raise or lower taxes. They can't even initiate appropriations bills. Those have to come from the Appropriations Committee within the House of Representatives. All the president can do is sign or veto an appropriate tax bill. So when President Bush recently lowered taxes for the wealthy, that bill came out of the House of Representatives, then went to the Senate, and then got passed all the way up to the president, who signed it. If the president wanted to lower taxes, that's how it goes. If the president wants to raise taxes, that's how it goes. All appropriation bills must start in the House of Representatives. So whenever a president says he's going to raise or lower taxes, he's lying. The war in Iraq is a big one. A lot of people like to believe that President Bush is responsible for the continuing situation in Iraq. Now, that's just, again, not true. Was he responsible for getting us into war in the first place? Absolutely. Was he responsible for the first 90 days of war, which is he's allowed to by the War Powers Act? Absolutely. But after that, it's all up to Congress. Congress has been continually reauthorizing the Iraqi war, and now the Democrat majority has again reauthorized the war in Iraq. So for people to continually blame the president for getting us into some sort of quagmire in Iraq is simply not true. The blame in that situation lies solely on the Republican majority in Congress and now the Democrat majority in Congress. So if you're looking to blame anyone about the war in Iraq, blame your congressmen who are still not getting the job done. Programs such as health care, welfare reform, things like that. Again, the president says he's got a plan or she's got a plan that's going to solve this problem or that problem. And again, can't happen. The president cannot make law. They can't do this. It's not in the Constitution. The president, the executive branch, has been stripped of those powers, and it's gone to the legislative branch. Again, that's why we have a separation of the powers, the judiciary, the executive, and the legislative branches. The president simply can't install some universal health care program. The president's party can, through Congress. A senator can institute a bill, a representative can institute a bill, some guy on the street could send it to a congressman and institute a bill. But the president himself or herself, if Hillary gets elected, cannot do so. So that's, again, any health care plans, any new programs, tax, any of those things that the presidential candidates say they're going to do, flat out, cannot be done. Period. So there you have it, folks. The powers of the president, pretty limited when you look at it from the grand point of things. The president can, of course, sign laws that have already been passed by Congress. He can or she can make war for up to 90 days, I believe, with the War Powers Act. He or she is the head of state and of this country, so will go about and receive gifts from other dignitaries and things like that, although he or she's not actually allowed to keep them. And also he or she cannot receive titles. So if like the Queen of England wanted to come over here and knight the incoming president, it couldn't happen. And the president, of course, gets to nominate Supreme Court justices, but again, those have to be confirmed by the Senate, and things like that. So again, the president has very, very limited powers. And there's a reason for that, because we didn't want to set up a dictatorship, sort of a monarchy that had been established by the British so long ago when we first came over here. So, again, the president can't raise or lower taxes, can't create new laws or new programs, and can't get us into war for eons and eons of time. For all of that, look to Congress. So if you really want to make change in the election of 2008, don't look for the president, look at Congress. The president can ask Congress for many things, but it's up to Congress to actually do them at the end of the day. So there you have it, the powers of the president as they currently sit. And next week we will be looking at some of the other interesting aspects of the political system and also politics in general, possibly even be looking at the differences and the nuances between actually a liberal and a conservative, and the differences between those two and what the Democrats and Republicans actually preach. So stay tuned.